it's been really good to hear from the historic and the legal perspective, and I think that we will, I think, end on an inspirational note. Miguel was able to adjust his green card, and I know that one of the things that really would bug me when I would talk to people when I got married and we lived in different countries for a couple years, almost 3 years. So it took us about 3 years to get his green card. I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born here, and we'll get into that, and he'll tell his story. But yeah, you don't just get married and then pick up a green card in the next window. That's not how it works, and unfortunately, a lot of people think that is how it works. But before we get into that, I want to tell you a little bit about Voces De La Frontera. How many of y'all have heard of Voces De La Frontera? All right, friendly crowd. How many of you guys are coming on May 1st in Waukesha? Okay, very good. So the May 1st March, that's kind of one of the big claim to fame that Voces has in the community and across the state. So this year we are going to be marching in Waukesha on May 1st, Cutler Park. We start about 10 a.m. So for those that can join. And we're marching against 287G. How many of y'all have heard of Joe Arpaio from Maricopa County in Arizona? All right. So to keep on with the sadness here, one of the things that is true is that 287G program that made Joe Arpaio notorious is actually was approved in Waukesha County.
Oh my
God. So we don't want that to have the effects that it had in Arizona. However, we know what this program can do. We know that it's highly discredited, and we know that nothing good has come from this program. It has only exacerbated issues in the community, such as people being afraid to report crimes, and also cooperation with law enforcement, and just overall fear of not just the parents who are undocumented, but of children. It just instills a fear in law enforcement. So that's why we're going to be in Waukesha on Tuesday, and we hope that you will join us. So Voces De La Frontera is Wisconsin's leading immigrant rights organization. We've been around since 2001 in Wisconsin. Started off as the name of a bilingual newspaper. The founding director, Christine, had started it when she lived in Texas as an organizing tool for workers, that she would then go with some of her colleagues to the Mexican side of the border, and at the sweatshops or maquiladoras, they would use this newspaper as an organizing tool. It would explain how to do a one-on-one, how to do these really basic things on how to organize and how to report abuses in your workplace. So then, flash forward a few years later, Voces came to Wisconsin under that same name. So what do we do? Well, we cause a ruckus all over the place. That's part of what we do. But it's all with the intention that why do we exist? Because immigrants deserve to be treated with dignity, and that's the reason why Voces exists, and that's the reason why we carry on these different campaigns in different parts of the state, and are addressing issues and trying to really specifically change policies that would not only benefit immigrants but the community at large. So that's our perspective, and that's the lens through which we do our work. So if you want to know a little bit more about Voces, I could talk about Voces all day, but I'll just leave it brief. But we've got Ken over here, who's a stalwart Voces member. So you can sign up there if you'd like to be a member, if you want to get on our email list, anything like that. You could go ahead and do that. Then there's also some flyers for the march. If you wanted to come, invite your friends, take a picture of it, post it on Facebook, all that jazz. So we do appreciate that. So now I'd like to invite my husband up here, Miguel. Miguel, if you want to come up here. So I always say it took us 3 years to get his green card, but I think that in reality, it was a lot longer for him, the wait. The wait for me was not that much, but it takes a long time. It's not like you get married and you get a green card. So we got married after we had dated for 5 years, and then Miguel's mom became ill. We were going to get married, and then his mom became ill. So then he said, I have to go to Mexico, and I don't know what to do. So then he left, and of course I had talked to several immigration lawyers, and one very good friend of mine, and she said, well, he's going to be gone, and it's going to be a while because of the 10-year bar. As soon as he steps back on Mexican soil, he's going to be barred for 10 years. But then we were able to overcome that, request a waiver so that he could not get the 10-year bar waived. And then between the time of the waiting and then I went to Mexico, we got married, got all the documents translated, all of my documents, and then his documents, and we were able to do that, so it took about 3 years. Him living there, me living here, and then we finally got it. But, so that's how that happened. But Miguel's going to tell you from the beginning, por qué se vino a Estados Unidos, why he came to the United States, and the specifics about his journey. So he'll do it in Spanish, and then I'll be translating for you in English, so you get the full experience.
Hi everybody. Mi razón de venirme a Estados Unidos fue porque vengo de una familia, tengo 4 hermanos y gracias a Dios tengo mis papás. Soy de una familia que no tenemos mucho dinero, somos una familia humilde. Me vine con el propósito de ayudar a mis hermanos, a mis papás, y salí a la edad de 19 años de México.
So why did I come to the United States? I came to the United States because I'm from a family of 4 kids, and thankfully, thank God, I have both my parents, my mom and my dad. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad was a worker that had to support all of us, and my family was very humble, but we were very poor. So when I was 19, I made the decision to help my father in raising the rest of my family. So that's why at 19 I came to the United States.
Al salir yo de mi tierra, salí yo solo, salí con el propósito de llegar a este país, esperando la ayuda de amigos que estaban en este país, obviamente. Al estar en la frontera llegué a Nogales, y estar en Nogales duré una semana parado porque la migración estaba muy fuerte en ese entonces y me detuvieron una semana ahí.
So when I left Aguascalientes, I was 19, and I didn't have any family that I was close with here in the United States, but I was getting the help of 2 friends that I had known since I was a child that I grew up with, and they were going to help me to come here. And then I came through Nogales, which is near Arizona, and when I was still on the Mexican side, before we were going to do the cross, the people that were going to cross me, they said, you got to wait because there's a lot of immigration on the border right now, and we might risk getting sent back. So they said, we have to wait here, and I was at the border for 1 week.
Ya cuando nos tocó el momento de partir, cruzamos por el desierto 2 días y medio caminando. En el transcurso del camino nos tocó ver cosas muy difíciles. En el momento de que me llegó a tocar ver un cadáver, una persona que falleció, que estaba ahí, obviamente en el desierto. Una persona ya de grande edad, éramos un grupo de 60 personas. Y la persona, la mayor que se estaba quedando ya atrás, queríamos ayudarlo, y los coyotes, lo que se le llaman coyotes, estaban enojados con un grupito que queríamos ayudarlo porque se podía trazar el camino. No lo ayuden, él tiene que caminar él solo por él mismo, tiene que luchar por su vida.
So then he remembers that when the day came, the week-long wait was over so that they could cross. The coyote, which is what they often call smugglers, the coyote said, our route is going to be through the desert. So they walked in the desert for 2.5 days, and he remembers that in the desert he saw bones, he saw ribs of a person who clearly had been left there, and the journey was very difficult. It was very hot, very difficult conditions. And there was one man, the group that was crossing in his group was 60 individuals. And there was one individual he was an older gentleman, probably about 60 or 65. And it was obvious that he was struggling a lot on the journey. And there was a small group of people that were sort of hanging back to try to help him. And then the coyote at once said, you guys have to leave him alone. He has to fight for his own life. If he gets left behind, we can't wait with him.
Ya en lo mismo, ya en la segunda noche, nos tuvimos que detener ya entre las hierbas, porque nos tocó ver la patrulla fronteriza. Estábamos viendo las patrullas y de las 60 personas nadie se paró porque el camino fue muy difícil y todos tuvieron el valor de quedarse en el suelo. Y eso fue muy admirable para mí, el valor de todos, que ya era mucho el cansancio, que todos peleamos por no rendirnos hasta donde llegáramos. Y fue algo que nos tocó ver todo eso de la patrulla enfrente de nuestros ojos.
So at that point, we were ending the second day, and we had to go to sleep because we had to rest. And at that time, when we were getting ready to sit down, and I mean, we're out in the desert, we're just kind of trying to find, we don't know if we're gonna see snakes or scorpions or whatever. You just hope that you lay down and you're not gonna get bitten by something. And then at that point, we were all laying down, and we heard trucks coming. And everybody knew that was immigration. And what, as Miguel says, what surprised me was that of all of those 60 people, not one person, despite the fear that the trucks could come our way and we could get run over, not one person got up because they knew how exhausted they were. They knew how tired this journey had been and everything that was riding on them getting to the other side of that border. And the bravery of those people that said, they're risking their life, it's just a life risk after life risk, and that not one person got up. That was just telling of how badly people want this dream.
Ya al día siguiente ya se nos estaba acabando el agua, ya era muy poco lo que teníamos para tomar. A lo que llegábamos ya al grado de tomar así del agua, para mojarnos los labios, no querían que nos tomáramos el agua a tragos, era de gotitas para nomás mojarnos los labios porque ya no teníamos suficiente agua para todos. Fue algo muy difícil eso.
And after the second day, we thought we were very close to the border, and they said, well, you know what, you actually still have another half day. And so at that point, they had one bottle of water left. And the guy that had it, he said, you can't chug the water. Keep the cap on and just get enough drips so that your throat gets a little bit moist. So that's how we all were able to drink just a little tiny bit of water, enough for us to survive.
Ya para nuestra buena suerte, gracias a Dios todos pasamos. Llegaron 3 camionetas, organizaron 3 grupos. Los 3 grupos pasamos, todos llegamos a Arizona y todos de ahí se empezaron a repartir a los estados que cada quien iba.
So then at that point, we were right at the line, and then there were 3 trucks there waiting for us, and they divided us up into 3 groups, and then we were in Arizona, and then the 3 groups, some were heading out to California or out west, other groups were heading more to like Georgia, Atlanta area, and then there was another group that was heading north, which is the group that Miguel was with. And all 60 people did make it across.
Ya en mi camino, que mi destino era venir a Wisconsin, yo venía con un grupo de 8 personas en una van. Ya al llegar al estado de Arkansas nos paró una patrulla. Veníamos obviamente ya estábamos tan cansados que no nos aguantábamos pues cómo olíamos, o sea, ya estábamos muy mal. Y el coyote nos dijo bien claro, no quiero que me vayan a decir que nos paremos por agua, por nada. Aquí les voy a dar agua y les voy a dar un bote para que hagan del baño en la camioneta. No quiero perder tiempo y aprovechemos esto, si no, las cosas se van a poner mal. Y nos paró la patrulla, y en el momento que nos dijo, la patrulla nos vio, se acercó el policía, se acercó a la camioneta y nos vio, y le preguntó al coyote, le digo, oye, ¿ellos quiénes son? No, pues la verdad venimos cruzando, ellos vienen con nosotros, pues voy a hacer lo que tengo que hacer, voy a llamar a migración, espero y no se sientan mal porque los voy a deportar. La patrulla los va a deportar, ahorita van a venir por ustedes en 1 hora.
So then at that point, the truck that was heading north, it wasn't that many of us, but we were in a minivan, so we were very crammed. And you can imagine 2.5 days in the desert, you're smelling real funky, and you're with a bunch of people that are smelling just like you are. And then the driver said, we're almost there. We've got about 10 more hours. And here's a bucket if anybody needs to go to the bathroom. Here's water. You have to hold out because any stops that we make, we're risking everything, right? And so then the truck is going, and then there's a squad car that pulls up behind them and pulls them over. And so a local sheriff pulls over the Coyote, and he looks inside the van, and he says, "Why do you have all these people in here like that?" And then the Coyote just, wouldn't answer the question or said, well, what do you think, right? And then he said, well, hey, hang on, wait here. I'm calling the Border Patrol.
En el transcurso de esa hora, ya pues a todo se me vino a mis pensamientos de decir si valió la pena o no. Dije, esto es muy difícil para mí, no vuelvo a intentarlo. No vuelvo, no quiero regresar porque es muy difícil. En verdad, gracias a mis amigos que me quisieron ayudar, dije, pero no vuelvo a intentarlo. Gracias a Dios nunca llegó la migración. El sheriff nos dejó ir, me dijo, ¿pueden irse? No, pues, todos estábamos contentos. Todos contentos y de ahí partimos a nuestro destino.
So then the sheriff said, if he doesn't come in an hour, you guys are good to go. That was the longest hour of his life. He thought, I'm very grateful to my friends that they helped me and they paid the Coyote, but if that immigration truck comes, I'm not doing this again. This has got to be a sign that this wasn't for me, and I'm just not going to put myself through that anymore. But then the hour passed, and the sheriff came back and he said, they're not here. You guys are good to go. I can't do anything with you. So he was free. So just as we're talking about like the different processes to adjust status, had that truck came, that immigration truck came and deported them, and then if Miguel would have crossed again, I wouldn't have been able to adjust his status, right? Because then he would have had a reentry charge. So he would still be the same person, but treated in a very, very different manner. So yeah, this is not a unique story. This is a story that a lot of people have. And so I met Miguel about 5 years after that. By the way, he told me this story on our first date. Heavy stuff. I was like, okay, what do I do with all that? But yeah, you go back to work. That's what you do. Yeah. So then it's been a very long journey for him. So then I met him when he had been here for 5 years, when he had been in Milwaukee for 5 years, and then 5 years after we had been dating, that's when all of that happened, and sort of told the story backwards. But so yeah, that's our story.